Country Club of Woodbridge Commission. It's Monday, March 28th, 2016. We're in the Town Hall meeting room. The first item on the agenda is public comments. There's a number of people here. Would anyone like to make comments? Roger, please, for the record, name and address, please.
Roger Sherman, 5 Fairview Road. I live pretty much adjoining the club property across the street. And my observation, things have been looking very busy over there. They've done a lot of nice work, cutting trees on the course. And I was a little worried about how they were trimming the trees along the main road over there. I guess that has to do with the power lines. But
Yeah, was done by,
yeah,
who are they now? Eversource? Or no, UI?
yeah, it was part of the
Yeah,
power lines. But
yeah.
that really takes down the buffer to the road. So I'm kind of scared of the golf balls come flying over there or whatever. I don't know if they realized how much they were clearing. But hey, we'll find out. I enjoyed the letters that the commissioners have written in the local papers, and a lot of people really support the club. People were having a hard time finding out about this meeting because the meeting was buried into the website on the minutes and agendas. I put it on my Facebook page, to post the agenda, and they finally put it on the front of the web page at 2 o'clock this afternoon, which doesn't give a lot of people a lot of time to find out about it. I know there's a regular time the meeting is every month, but people will just like to, see it on the page and not have to dig within the page to get to it. I appreciate everything the commission does, and I hope the board of selectmen supports your effort too. Thank you.
Thank you, Roger.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah? What?
When you were talking about putting on the web page, you're talking about putting on the web page the meeting that all the commissions had, or just our commission? I didn't quite get
Just
that.
yours. They usually put.
Just our commission?
They
Okay.
put them on, meetings, scheduled meetings, and then they have a calendar next to it that you can hit on the calendar, and it shows all the meetings for the whole month. Okay, your meeting wasn't on there. Okay, so I posted on my Woodbridge Alliance page, and then finally, thank goodness they read my page, because they finally put it on there at 2 o'clock this afternoon.
But on that same principle, I think when we have a meeting, the meeting should be posted, and the agenda for the meeting should be posted at the same time, so that people can look at the meeting when it is and what's on our agenda.
Yeah. See, once you see it on the page, on the front page, you click on the front page, and then it will light up a square that says, you can go to the minutes and agenda, and then you click on the minutes and agenda, and then you go from there to look up the agenda. But
Okay.
they didn't have it on the front page.
Yeah, the
So-
agenda was posted.
Yeah.
Somehow it didn't get on the calendar.
It didn't get on the calendar. did
Page
it?
or whatever, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
He answered my questions.
Okay.
I follow the website very.
Okay.
Sometimes it's hard to weed yourself through the website, but once you figure it out, you can get to it. But to make it simple, put it on the front page and add it have it on the calendar. Because it's been a hot topic, the club. So I'd like to see everybody in the town be able to come to the meeting.
Okay. Thank you, Roger. Anyone else here to make public comments, Felicia? Again, name and Address for the record, please.
Felicia Lober, Lober, 35 Weppawag. I just wanted to say that I know when I read the articles in the paper.
I can't quite hear
Oh,
that.
sorry. When I read the articles in the paper, it goes over, revenues, expenses for the club. But I was wondering if there would be a way to get it into at least for me and maybe for the rest of the Woodbridge residents, into an Excel spreadsheet that would show, I think it's much easier to show the progression of how well the club is doing. I think it's an easier format than trying to read it in a paragraph format. I don't know what you all think, but it was just a thought that I had, I think, because I keep getting confused when I read all these different articles, because there's varying numbers by varying people. So I think if we could get what the actual revenues and expenses are for the club into an Excel spreadsheet, I think it would be much easier for people to understand.
Sounds like a good idea.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. The second item on the agenda, we have two drafts of minutes that I'd like to get moved forward to approve status. The first is the meeting of Monday, November 23rd. Actually, there was a typo under members absent. I misspelled the name there. I did correct that. But otherwise, I'm going to make a motion that the minutes be approved. Is there a second?
So moved.
All in favor? Or any discussion? All in favor?
I don't think he was there.
You're right. Yep. Okay. Just making some notes here. And the second is the minutes of the meeting of February 22nd. I don't believe I had any changes to that, and so I will make a motion that they be approved. Thank you, Sandy. And any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Thank you. All right. The third item on the agenda, at the last meeting, this came out of a suggestion Richard made, actually, as noted in the minutes of February 22nd. But basically, what we decided to do was have a discussion of the various options that have been presented for the property, as well as the option to not make any changes. I would suggest that as a, do we call it a base document? That one of the things that I handed out tonight was this piece of information, or this piece that is from the administration's document on the options for the Country Club of Woodbridge, A, B, C, D, E, F. Again, I think we've implicitly added a G perhaps for golf, I don't know, but in any event, G being the option to not make changes. And
Deke, excuse me, could I
Sure.
just ask why there was never a G from the town?
that's not an answer. That's not a question I can answer.
I thought it was a question worth asking.
Okay, that's not.
Or maybe one of
I
the
think it's
select
fair.
people could answer it.
I'm sorry?
Maybe one of the select members could answer it.
Well, what's the question?
I didn't hear it either.
Oh, sorry to wake you up, Joe.
No, I was reading this.
It's okay.
been
Joe, the
awake
question
since
I
about
asked was,
6.
why was there never a G?
Or that is an option to not make
Why was there
any
never
changes.
an option G of keeping the golf course?
Or, yeah.
Do you
Well,
have
I
any
think-
ideas?
What would be option G?
Well, to keep it as it is, I think, is what everyone's saying. So I think that wasn't. These are. I think that's implicit in the. I think we always thought of that as the open, as part. It could be part of an open space option. Number one. Number two, the other one. All the rest of them were development options. So G, if you guys want to call it G, G could be part of F.
Well, yes, I think that we do need to differentiate between open space and the golf course. No?
But I think if you look at option F, if I'm not correct, option F was to make it completely open spaces.
No,
Well,
not
that's where
necessarily.
that's where that $1.5 million cash price was, is to take down the
Well,
build.
that's what I'm saying, Richard. I'm saying that I think that F and G, in my head,
There's no G.
well, that's right. I'm asking why there was no G.
I guess I don't have the answer for that.
Well,
Okay.
Because I think we,
Give us a minute.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Or-
In November, before I left for the UK, I wrote a letter to the paper about that issue.
I'm lost.
And I said, you're missing another option. The option is to try and maintain the club as it is with the clubhouse, golf, tennis and pool. I'm paraphrasing my own letter, but I could find it for you if you want.
Thank
Because
you.
I noticed it was not an option at that point. It was
Okay.
early November? Yes, it was the end of October or early November of last year.
Thank you.
My
So
name
for-
is Joyce Simpson. I never received a response.
For these purposes, I think we can either view this as accepting one of A through F, or rejecting one of A through F, or developing a G with, whatever detail we choose to put in.
Well, when I was can I speak?
Yeah.
At the meeting where they laid out the plans for this, they said there would probably be one option for us to vote on, townwide vote, which I think is wrong. I think there should be two options. One, leaving the club the way it is, and the other, whatever they come up with. And then let the townspeople vote. But at least it'll be settled, because if they vote it down on one option, then we gotta start all over again.
Well, I don't think you could vote on an option that they don't even have on the paper. I mean, it's nice to say, yeah, we're gonna go with option G,
Okay.
but there's no really option G.
Then
That's for us to-
The board
That
is
was my
that's
question,
fine.
Richard. My
But
question
that's up to
was,
the Board of Selectmen. They're the ones that had this presentation that they're giving us. Somewhere along, Joe could tell you, that wasn't one of the options they put on the table.
Well, I don't even know what you guys are trying to get at here, but if you're trying to come up with a different option,
Right.
then come up with it.
That's what I'm saying, right, you're
Come up
right.
with it.
You're 100%
I
right.
mean,
that's what I was trying
if
to.
that's
Wait,
the
if-
purpose
That's
of
what I
it.
was- that's what I was
I think
trying
it's
to
our
get to.
duty
The,
to
the
come up with
agenda
an
item
option
doesn't say that.
G.
The agenda item says discuss the various options.
and show the relevant points of it, because I remember when they showed the way the progression is going with the golf course as a public course, it looks like it's beginning to bring in some funds.
Time.
Well, I think you guys need to look at those numbers.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I think you're wrong on that. I'll be honest with you. I'm with Joe. It doesn't look like it may cost us less, but we're still subsidizing the golf course, and we're gonna be subsidizing for a long time.
No, I
That's
agree with
before
that.
you get to any capital assessment.
Right, yes,
Right.
yeah. No, I agree with that, but I'm saying it is showing more revenue, that might be.
The
term.
revenue was up, that's true.
Well, I think a lot of this really has to come back to the Casper. Because, I mean, if you look at, I seen your scenario, you had your scenario in the paper, and I didn't see where your scenario would get the town out of subsidizing Casper. I think if Casper didn't need to be subsidized, and we were gonna get some kind of feedback from Casper, I think the town, and I'm sure you'll be happy.
Well,
But to put money in, okay, and then get a rebate, it's still costing the town for Casper to run the club.
But it's not forever.
The real issue here is really Casper has to run the club, and somewhere along the line, the town has to get some money from Casper for running the club, but the town can't keep subsidizing Casper to run the club. I mean,
That would require a new contract with Billy Casper.
then I'm saying that is my only concern. Or in other words, I don't see where the town has to subsidize Casper to run a golf course.
Well, they do under the present contract.
It's not right, because I mean, and I haven't really got anything from Casper, and I don't think anybody here in this room has got something from Casper, of how many people that belong to the club from the town of Woodbridge. I got a lot of things, well, we say, okay, we get the postal thing. But if we're gonna subsidize it, which we do, I'd like to see how many members of the town of Woodbridge use the club. I mean, you know, why should we subsidize a club that other people on other towns are coming to play on?
Well, yeah.
There's no logic in there, Derek.
Okay. I don't know about that, but, you know, first of all, the existing contract is in its third and final year.
2016,
Yeah.
December, I think.
Part of the dollars in the contract relate to a loan that the town took out in 2012 to acquire maintenance equipment. Now, the terms of the contract could have been that the town continued to pay that, but instead, the terms of the contract were that Billy Casper Golf would pay that. Okay? Now, that loan will be paid in full at the end of this year. That loan requires payments of $118,000 a year.
Let me ask a question. Can we get a copy of the contract for our next meeting?
What contract?
I mean, the Casper
With Billy
contract. I
Casper
mean,
Golf.
are we the people that are supposed to be working on running the country club? I think that's what this is. Can we see that contract?
I don't.
Is there a
see any reason
possibility,
why
can
not
you have that
right now.
contract for next month?
I can probably email it to you. Yeah.
Because I think until we could really look at where we're going in the future, I don't even know today if we can really choose one of these options, to be honest with you. Because my real concern is really the dollars spent. I mean, I'm looking for dollars. I'm not looking for anything
What kind
else.
of dollars are you looking for? I don't quite understand what kind of dollars you're looking for.
Well, I'm looking at the town, how much the town is paying for the golf course and running the golf course
The town
every
has
year.
but the town has already paid a lot of money for the golf course.
I agree, but they're still paying every year.
Well, no, I mean,
No.
the contract, let's see, for calendar year 2016 requires the town to pay Billy Casper Golf $180,000 a year. And again, what I said earlier was that a portion of the negotiated amount was to cover the $118,000 on the equipment line.
What happened to the equipment that was there?
I don't know.
Does
I mean,
anybody know?
well, actually, let's see, there were two phases when the club was acquired, the club was then leased to MDM Golf.
Right.
And then there was a period where MDM Golf left, and so to the extent that there was any equipment, it would have, at least in theory, been MDM Golf's equipment at that point in time.
Wait. Didn't the club have its own equipment?
I don't know whether they owned it. I don't know whether, if they owned it, it was part of the sale, or that is the sale to the town.
I think this is something we should find out. I mean, it seems to me that the equipment, they had to have, somebody had to be responsible for that equipment.
Yeah, it could have been leased equipment, it could have been given back to the lessor.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But
Yeah,
nobody
yeah.
seems to know what happened.
Yeah,
Yeah. So,
okay.
just curious to see what happened to it. If it is leased equipment, sure, I can understand it would be taken, the lease company would take it back.
But, I mean, Rich, this is fine. If you think that there's, we don't have enough information to discuss these options, then that's fine. But
Yeah.
what other information do we need?
Yeah, I'd like to see, if you could, see if we
Yeah.
can get a hold of the contract and we look through that contract, okay? Because I think the contract is really, gives you some kind of insight of what's the future of the club.
Well, you'll be disappointed then.
Because I just don't see where the club, in the years to come, can run just, when I say the club, I'm sorry, the club, Casper,
Yeah.
can just run without any funds from the town.
Well, I'm not sure about that.
Well,
Huh?
you know, and again.
And I think the contract will give us a good idea of where they're going.
Well, except that the contract was 3 years ago, and things have certainly changed at the golf course and at the pool now in the last year. So that you could be talking about apples and
Well,
oranges from when that contract was negotiated 3 years ago.
Right. But I haven't seen that contract.
Well, I haven't either.
Well, I think we
But
ought
it's-
to,
but
we ought to
it's-
look
but
at
it's
it.
really not going to be germane anymore. There'll be a new contract.
Well, I mean, let's put it this way. It's gonna be germane because
Yeah.
somewhere along the line, I think we got an opportunity at this time to, they're gonna get a new contract, okay? And maybe we can put some input into the new contract. Seeing you didn't see the old contract and you had nothing to do with the old contract and you're living under the old contract. Now it's gonna be a new contract, and if we got, in order for us to look at the new contract, we have to go back and look at the old contract and see where we can improve it for the town. Because I don't think the town comes out good on these contracts. When you run a golf course, and you gotta keep paying the people that are running the golf course to run the golf course, and you're not making any money back from the golf course. We're not making anything from the golf course. Have they improved the golf course? Yes, I totally agree. I've seen the improvements. And I think they've been doing a good job since they've been in there. But the course itself, my feeling, if we're going to have this golf course, it should substantiate itself on its own. That the town of Woodbridge shouldn't have to subsidize that golf course. Now, somebody could have another opinion. That's their opinion. For my opinion, that's my opinion. And I think maybe if you get the contract, we take a look at the contract. Because what do you think all these proposals are? Somebody in the dark, why they're talking about putting housing over there? Because they're kind of reduce the debt and reduce the cost that they put into the golf course. I mean, that's what this is all about. This isn't anything else, unless
They
you.
can reduce some of the
That-
expense, well, they can reduce some of the expense from what I remember from that meeting, was the fact that once they take the debt and convert it to bond, that would lower the interest payment, which would then,
Well, conversion
Right.
of the note to a bond would lower the interest payment, but it
Well, that's
would
what I thought.
allow a reduction of the principal payment by extending the prospective term to 20 years rather than the 15 or so remaining.
because this is a short term that they have now, and they're paying.
Well, they're required to pay, or we are required to reduce the principal 1/20th every year.
You're right,
Yeah.
yeah, so that we get some, also, Richard, didn't you want how many members or how many people from Woodbridge play the course?
Right, that was it.
Yeah,
That-
We should ask Casper that again, I think we asked him that before.
Yeah, I think,
Yeah, there was a number somewhere we saw.
What?
There was a number
That number's
that they
on.
gave it, Tom gave it to
hosted
us.
2,997 golf rounds to approximately 800 residents. That's in the meetings
That-
of February 22nd.
So it was 800.
Approximately 800 residents.
Residents.
Yeah. And those aren't members. I mean, they're, or in the sense of, some of those people might only play one round.
Yeah. Now, the
That
interesting
sort of
thing would be
thing, yeah.
how many people from outside the area come into Woodbridge to play that is bringing dollars into the town.
Well, if you look at it just based on the percentage of rounds, 90% or not like, somewhere between 85 and 90% of the rounds are played by individuals who reside outside the town.
Really?
Yeah.
That says something about the course, huh?
Well, supply and demand.
Yeah. Well, I mean, supply and demand, you got Racebook and you got the
Racebrook's not.
But Oak Lane,
Yeah.
the old Oak Lane. So I mean, there are other courses they could play, but they,
Well, Racebrook is private.
Yes,
Yeah.
certain clubs,
I didn't
yeah, I
mean
mean, would
Racebrook.
would not be as accessible, but
yeah, but you have two
Yeah.
others. What are the two others over in Orange there?
Orange Hills,
Right.
Grassy Hill,
Right, Grassy Hill.
yeah.
I wonder how many
Yeah.
people play rounds, what the rounds are there, and what their cost is.
Okay. Is there anything else, Richard, that you would need to?
The only thing I'd ask
discuss these
if
options?
somewhere along the line,
Yeah.
by next meeting, if you could
Yeah.
see if you can get a hold of that contract. And we could get some more data from Tommy on the actual people, residents of Woodbridge that play that course.
It's not, it's not only the
Yeah.
course we should be looking
Yeah.
at. We should be looking at the whole picture. We have volleyball over there now.
But that has nothing to do with the course. That's the
If
recreation
the
department.
course goes, then, they're talking about the pool and everything else going with it. And I know they redid the tennis courts over there.
Right.
And we have volleyball over there. We've got a swimming pool. Okay. And then in the winter, I remember as a kid, as I said at the last meeting, that sledding.
Mhm.
It could, and for hiking during the off season.
And Sandy, I will tell you, excuse me, that one of the things I suggested that we try and close the club, I had said Sunday at 4:30, 5 o'clock, once a month, to invite the townspeople to come and hike it.
Yeah.
And if Tommy had been here, I would have said, I think any night we could do that, would just open up this land and get the golfers off by 5 o'clock, let the townspeople have it for a hike, have a picnic afterwards, hot dogs and hamburgers, whatever. It's a beautiful piece of property.
It is. It's a gorgeous piece of property.
I feel very strongly that we need to do some exploring before we move forward. Not just this commission. The townspeople as a whole need to be a lot more educated than I think we have been. And I do still think that that's one of the things we should think about for this year, is perhaps, telling the golfers if we choose Sunday, whatever day would work best, to open the club up and for hiking, for walking, and not have the golf balls flying at
Flying
them.
at you, right. No, but I think that it's a something that the towns around here don't have, and I think it'll eventually increase property value, knowing that you can play around the golf or bring people in who are golfers, knowing that living in town you're going to get a reduced rate playing at the course. I mean, there's so many different angles that can go in there. So that's my thing. And the thing that bothered me was that there was, like you said, there's no G keeping it the way it is now. So
Okay, so we
That's
want
fine.
to table this discussion?
Yeah, you want to table it
Is
till
that-
next month?
Okay,
Second.
The contract, getting the contract to you, again, I can deliver that by email.
got to get it out of the vault first.
No.
It-
But obviously, I don't want to meet again and, have additional information that you ought to get. And so we don't need to conclude this tonight, but, to the extent that, prior to our next meeting, which, let's see, what would that be? April 23rd? Does that sound right?
No, it's a little bit later because I know that I'm flying out. Right.
25th?
You got your
Okay.
calendar on your phone?
Yeah, 25th.
Right, 'cause I
We
won't be
would,
here.
we would then have this on the agenda, and I would ask that, if people need information or have questions or whatever, that they, email me, and to the best of my ability, I'll try to get the information that you've asked for, and, so that, we can address these things.
One thing we didn't talk about, and I did see at the Board of Selectmen meeting, is the, I don't know, is that pollution they were talking about, or that was just the the chemicals and how much it needs to, are you aware of that?
There's
I've read the whole report.
Huh?
Yeah.
How come we don't know anything about it?
What do you need to know?
Well, are we the people that are supposed to be looking over the golf course, or maybe it's a different commission?
Well,
No?
again, you're
I
asking
mean,
questions that I can't
when I
answer.
get on a commission,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
I do as much research as I can,
Yeah.
okay, and I like to know everything about what I'm doing, okay. Now, I did find that the Board of Selectmen had a meeting, and at the Selectmen's meeting, they had two engineers. Joe, you were there, right?
You're
And they
right so
came up
far,
with, I guess, around the shed, that in order to get rid of all the toxic soil there, it's gonna be like $600,000. Is that the number they came up?
That's a
650
number,
was the
that's an older number.
Yeah.
Could be.
But I mean, what, do you know that?
I don't know anything about it.
You know that?
No.
I mean, we need, Derek, if we're on a commission, we need to know everything about what's happening on this country club. Did you know that they came in with this number?
It's from 2009.
It's an old number.
I think it was, 2009, but
Yeah. Okay, well, there's probably other things that
did you know it?
I'm not aware of, I guess. I mean, I don't know.
I guess they use
You know,
pesticides. They use pesticides,
Yeah.
and the pesticides are all around the area where they to store the stuff. Okay,
Yeah.
and they only got so many years. Am I correct, Joe? I think you
No,
got so many years
No,
that you got to.
not- That's not exactly correct. but-
Well, that's what he said. Something about.
No, there was a there's an old law and a new law. Under the old law, you had so many years. Under the new law, you have so many years. Under the old law, you
Can I
don't,
send
and
you
we're
an
under the
email
old
with
law.
my vote?
But if
So
we,
it gets a little complicated.
it gets a little complicated.
Yeah.
What's there?
I'm sorry.
Pesticides.
Which ones?
It's basically DDT, which was, outlawed in
banned substance.
1988,
Yeah,
I think, and, but prior to that time, it was extensively used.
right.
It's not a mobile pollutant.
That's right.
I say that in the sense of there's certain pollutants that would migrate, and so the good news is that it, at least in theory, basically stays in place.
That's exactly what it does. It binds with the
Yeah.
soil.
I'm
That's it.
Right,
You
this
know.
is Sandy. Sandy
Yeah, what am
knows
I
these
thinking?
things.
Yeah, wow.
I thought it might be chlordane, which again,
Yeah.
There is chlordane.
There is chlordane.
Excuse me, it is
There is
chlordane.
chlordane.
Yeah,
a
technical
simple way to get rid of
Yeah.
chlordane is to turn the soil over, let the air get at it, and it'll
Right.
evaporate. I mean, it'll
Yeah.
deteriorate.
Yeah.
Right now, it's bound with the soil, and it'll stay that way. But if you pour chlordane over a driveway, it'll be gone in probably a year,
Yeah.
maybe a little longer.
Okay.
Can't be 100% sure.
So I'm sorry, Rich, did you need information on that, or, I mean, I don't know what to,
But I
I'll
think
help you here.
I think you have
Yeah.
a good idea.
yeah,
With your idea before this property goes to referendum, or whatever it's gonna go, I think it may behoove us to open that property up and allow people to come over and see what they have. I
I
think
think
that-
it's very important, Rich. I tried to do that last year and it got left by the wayside. I know that there are townspeople who do walk the property. I see them when I play. They come out early, they come out at the end of the day. You could see all the sled marks when we did have that little bit of snow this year. And I guess, listen, there is no doubt that you all who know me know that I love the golf course and I love playing golf. However, I also love the land, and it does concern me since I will not be here at the next meeting, but I will send an email to Deke or a note. I worry that, once you lose the land, you lose the land. And when this got voted down, is it all right, Deke? Am I okay here?
what do you mean?
All right, then I'll just continue talking.
So far,
You'll
you're
tell me
perfect.
if I'm out of line. When this got voted down, I think it was 5 years ago, whenever it was, Toll Brothers offered the town $2-something million for the land off to the side, not optimal land. I think it would have taken part of the first hole and maybe the tennis courts. And now, from what I've seen, and I haven't seen all of the plans, it's like the most beautiful part of this land for really almost the same amount of money 5 or 6 years later. And that does concern me. I am concerned that we need more education, and I think the townspeople need to be more involved in all of this, and I think that we need to get this golf course opened, and I think that next month maybe you could talk to Tommy about it, or I will.
Yeah.
1 day a week at the end of the 5 o'clock or whatever, and just the golfers know they have to be off that day. Because I just think it's short-sighted, that's all.
Yeah, I agree.
It does concern me.
My other question is, does Toll Brothers know that there's a contaminant on the property?
Well, their
I think
their
Muppy
offer,
doesn't,
or well,
the land that they want.
actually, I don't believe either or any of the offers or proposals that they have made include
They're aware of it.
the portion of the land that has the chlordane contamination. Yeah, or to be sure well, again, there is this option
I think
E,
Muppy
which
could tell
is,
you.
you know, like a smaller size that definitely does not include the portion of the land that is contaminated with chlordane.
That's building a smaller amount of homes and keeping the golf course the way it is, correct or no?
Well, no, it anticipates a 9-hole golf course. Yeah, or
Potentially.
as an option, a 9-hole golf
Potentially.
course. Yeah. I'm sorry, Muppy.
May I speak for a minute? I have one piece of information that I thought may be helpful to you. Which
Name and
is-
address.
1170 Johnson Road. And definitely the piece of property that Toll Brothers is looking at does not include the storage shed area where the chlordane leak happened. Amy Morella has spoken to the Board of Finance, and there is going to be public comment, and she is going to come to the meeting this Wednesday night to speak about the possibility of getting into the budget $200,000, which is what it would cost to take care of that particular spill. It will not cost $600,000 to do that spill. There may be additional things that will need to be done in the future, but that was what she was going to try to get into the budget for this coming year.
Is that the only area where the contaminants were, or was around the shed?
Yeah, the contaminants are right where the shed is, where the maintenance shed is.
Yeah.
Am I correct?
That's the only
Area they found
environmental issue,
anyway.
or, yeah. Thank you. Okay, so, let's see. So this discussion is being tabled. I am getting everyone a copy of the contract. Everyone is going to ask me for any information that they need prior to next month's meeting of April 25th, where this will be again, or this again will be on the agenda. Is that where we are?
Okay.
Yeah, and the options too, that we're getting just a description of the options. I think, if I'm not mistaken, that when they gave the options, Joe, didn't they have,
There's a PowerPoint, you can. get
yeah,
a
there's
PowerPoint.
different
You can
scenarios.
see where it's located.
Yeah, I think that's something that, if we're gonna discuss this next meeting, maybe we wanna get that, so you really physically see where they're,
You can get, the town has that. You can get
Yeah.
Yeah, the town has it.
Again, I can email that.
because just talking about them without seeing where they're physically gonna be is,
It's on the website.
It's on the
actually, isn't it?
website.
It's on the website.
you know, the website isn't here.
Yeah, but you can get the website.
You can,
I looked at the website,
Did you find it?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Deke can get the PowerPoint.
Memorize it.
Okay. The last item on the agenda is other items as may be added by vote. Anything else that we need to discuss?
think they should only use orange golf balls, of course, so we can find them.
Yeah, the only thing that I will add is that, at the April 25th meeting, we'll have a more conventional meeting in the sense of Billy Casper Golf will be here, and we'll talk about, year-to-date activity, all that sort of stuff, and, how it looks for the balance of the year.
Is the course open now?
The course has not been closed, Sandy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and, the weather's been a little bit funny in the sense of it seems that the better days are weekdays rather than weekends. So, the revenues haven't been as good as they have. But last year we didn't earn $1 till April 10th or something. So, obviously we're way ahead of last year. Yeah. Okay. Question, Felicia?
Yeah. Oh, wait 1 minute. Another thing I think we should get is any proposals that have been made regarding the clubhouse as to repairs, anything like that, if we can get that information. Do you think you can get that?
Yeah, they
Tell me a
have
little
it
bit more
here.
here.
In other words, we got this? Oh, is this the only thing that they're proposing? Oh, option 1, option 2, I got it here, okay. If I have a question, I'll bring it up.
No, I'll get you a copy.
Okay, give me a copy. Okay.
I'm sorry, is that
This was the architect. The Board of Selectmen had the architect in, and he gave them...
Excuse me, Richard, what architect? I'm sorry.
Silver Petroselli.
Yeah, Silver Petroselli.
And what he ended up doing is giving them 3 different options on the building, the golf club building. One was decommissioning the building. Option number 2 was general repairs and replacements. In other words, if you wanted to bring it up to code, ADA code. And option 3 was demolish the building and put a new clubhouse. Now, we discussed this at a couple of meetings, and I think you actually brought the ordinance up, which kind of said that the commission here was responsible for the building. And you went back to the selectmen and asked them if they wanted to change the ordinance, and that ordinance never got changed. So the ordinance is still the responsibility from the Country Club of Woodbridge for the building. So, I think you were at the other meeting that I thought that the building should be rehabbed and bring in the recreation department in there and build up a nice place for senior center, have a senior center there. That this way here, they wouldn't have to do anything with the fire department. The fire department can keep their shed. Okay, the recreation department, which has a lot of material over at the schools, can go over to the building. And the senior center, the police department would increase to use the senior center. But that's another option that's on the table.
And this would be a better proposal than anything that's been proposed by the town so far. Because if you think about it, the way the club is set up,
I couldn't agree more.
there are different areas where the seniors can have different functions. Okay, and what bothers me the most is that it's deteriorating. At least cover the roof and stop the leaks for a little while until somebody can make up their mind.
Joe brought that up at the selectmen meeting. I listened to him.
Oh, what happened, Joe?
Well,
I don't remember. He has a better memory than I.
He asked them to put a tarp on it, and the question come back after one of our meetings. We talked about that, and they came back and said, "Well, the tarp is only going to last for 6 months." I think that was the
How
way.
do you get a good tarp?
yeah, I believe there's really only one place where there's a quasi-active leak, but that aside, it is my understanding that the town has investigated the expenditure of monies for repairs of that nature. Now,
And one of the things
you hear
that came up at that meeting, I watched the meeting very closely on the TV. One of the things that they came up with is the Board of Selectmen, the questions were asked, could they take the top part of that building off? Because it appears that the bottom part of the building, okay, has all the new locker rooms and the showers and is in pretty good shape, all the electrical. The problem is the top part. And according to the architect, he said you can't cut the roof off.
But you don't want to do that. Your proposal, what you're proposing regarding the senior center and the firehouse and all that, makes more sense. Okay, take the money that they're going to use for the expansion of the firehouse and put it towards the club,
But
the building, whatever it is.
But let's say, if you're going to do nothing, according to the cost there is $100,000. That's decommission the building to leave it for another day. To option 2 to repairs, possible cost is $3.5 million. That's what they're saying, to bring it up to ADA thing. If you tear the building down and you build another building, it's $5.3 million. Now, I have a problem with the $3.5 million that they're talking about to get that building in some kind of
It's a little
shape.
abstract without a specific intended use.
Right.
But
That is $3.5 million.
Right. But the other thing is, maybe Joe can answer this. How come they only got one architect to go in
Oh,
there?
thank you, Sandy. That's just what I was thinking. Why would you only get one opinion?
can we
I don't have an answer for that.
Thank you, sir.
can we
I'm not cross-examining.
as
No, it's
members
okay.
of the commissions
I'm only on the board, I don't run.
get them to open up the building and maybe we can review that?
Well, but we're not architects either.
You mean to walk through the building?
Yeah,
When
take
do
a
you
walk
want to do
through
it?
it.
Oh, you,
Sandy and I
Yeah,
already
do
went
it,
through it, but I mean, I don't know if anybody
Twice a
else.
month.
You were there, we already.
Yeah.
had
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, we went through the building. I can,
You know,
I know I could see the windows. I
Yeah.
could see where, the roof. There is some areas in the roof that need repairs. But they're saying that I take it. They said the elevator don't work. Well, there's elevator people that fix elevators. Because one of the things with the firehouse, I understand, if they bring to the firehouse, they got to put an elevator in. Maybe I'm missing something in the whole.
Yeah, well, the
There's an
elevator,
elevator there.
the width of the elevator does not satisfy ADA requirements. And so it's sort of like, well, do you invest the money into something that doesn't satisfy ADA requirements, or do you put in a new elevator? And I don't know the answer to that.
I don't know it either.
Hypothetical or whatever, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Felicia, I'm sorry, you had wanted to say
That's-
something.
That's okay.
Yeah.
I happened to attach to the February 22nd agenda. I don't know if I think it was from this meeting, the Country Club of Woodbridge, the February GAC presentation, Tommy Miller
Yeah.
and Dennis Petrozzulli. I just wanted to, Richard, when you had said that the country club was not making any money, I think in that presentation it said that 2015 results exceeding total revenue by 102.5K, exceeding golf revenue by 50K, grew revenue 136K over the previous year, grew rounds by 4.2K, and wrote the town back a check for 50.2. So the town did receive money from Billy Casper.
But you got to understand that they're getting a rebate. You're missing the point. The town is getting money after they make so much money.
But we own it.
But the key is the town is giving them money. So the only thing the town is getting back is money when they make money. That's why I like to look at the contract.
Yeah.
It's all how you want to talk about things
Right.
and how you want to phrase it. If you're saying that 50,000 is, the town made 50,000, that's incorrect. So
Right.
if you want to say they paid us 50,000, that's correct.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean,
Understand.
it's,
The town they wrote a check back to the town for
Sure,
50.
we-
Right. But we already
No one
gave them
disputes that.
money. They're
But I
not,
think the dispute comes in if the suggestion is the town made 50,000 because of that payment. That is not an accurate statement. So it depends upon how you want to put it into context.
But with the rebate, we'll call it a rebate back to the town, then they use less money they use less money from the town for that particular year. Am I correct or wrong?
The town would have paid less money.
Yeah, doesn't matter, right.
Net, at the net, yes. So I mean, numbers can be phrased any
right,
way
but,
you want to talk
but
about.
is Casper making money on the club? Yes, he's doing a good job on the club. But the key comes back is how much is it costing the town for him to make money? That's my concern, okay? If he comes out and says, look, we'll run the club free, okay? I'm all for that. As long as the town doesn't have to pay money into paying we pay Casper to run the club. And
Yeah, the town approached Casper to renegotiate that contract because they didn't want to have the liability of losing more money. But now things have changed and the club is doing better. So renegotiating the contract is a good idea, but Casper has been putting a lot of his own money into the course also.
Right.
So there is great potential here.
But that'll give them incentive to negotiate to keep the contract.
right.
Yeah.
I don't know if I should have said that,
But him putting money into the club helps him make more money because more people go to the club.
Absolutely. And not having a clubhouse hinders them, by not having a clubhouse. Okay, you had the report that was done back in 2009. The architect came back here and made this other second report without going back into the club house. Okay, so he went by the 2009 report. Okay, since that 2009 report, they already did the roof over the kitchen. So I don't know if he deducted that from the number of the roof to enclose it. Okay, so and other improvements that were done, because NBA Golf ran the clubhouse. Okay, so there had been upgrades to the club. So a certain amount of upgrades had been done. Okay, and as far as the elevator, in that report, the architect said something about the coat room next to the elevator that could make it easier to make the elevator compliant.
But-
so it's a possibility of making it easier.
Before I got on this commission, I went back and I looked at, I do my research, don't get me wrong. I went back and I looked at all the building plans that they presented, not Casper and not the town, but the people that owned the club before, and the improvements that they did to that club. The lockers, the electrical, they put over $1 million into that club before they went belly up. There was a lot of money put in. I don't know if anybody looked at the thing, but I have the building permits and I have all the things. I went back and did some research. That's why, to me, it's very important that we look at that club and the potential that that club has for the town.
Absolutely.
And that's what I keep giving my story on.
If you look at the structure of that clubhouse, it's all reinforced concrete. The floor of the upper floor is reinforced concrete. That's not going anywhere. So it's all, windows. Would you knock your house down because you wanted new windows? Would you knock the house down because you wanted a new roof? No, you fixed the windows and the roof. Okay? You have 43,000 square feet. That's more than the whole center building.
And a very good kitchen.
Well, the thing is, once you fix the roof and the windows, you lease out the inside, a certain portion, for somebody who wants to put a restaurant.
I agree with you.
Okay? That has never been put out
And
there.
and the other thing is, which I was not going to say, I'll say it anyway. The bar is there.
Mhm.
Guys come off the golf course. Let's have
A
that
beer.
revenue.
Refreshment.
A refreshment. Thank you.
Adult refreshment.
That revenue, whoever negotiates it, the town gets a percentage. percentage of that. And I bet it would do really well.
If you ever saw a mall, okay, they get a square footage, they do every renovation in there, and they pay a common charge to the owner of the mall, and they pay him a percentage of their profits also. Okay, you work it out like a business at a lease. Okay, we haven't been doing that. We're not good business people.
No, that's true. That's true. I think so. Yeah.
I think it was a good
Sound a
meeting.
little bit like Donald Trump.
All right.
I don't try to hide my hair.
I will make a motion for adjournment.
Second.
I'll second.
I got in there ahead of you.
Thank you all, and again.